Alright, this is lesson 2.6, which represents the last one before your test coming up after this for section 2. Let's check this out and see how it works. The difference between this section and the other one is that now the x is over here instead of being over there, so as long as your eyes don't get thrown off, you should be okay. The values with x are 8 and 59. And so as long as you can see that, you should be good. Remember, we moved the weaker operations, so 59 would be the first thing to go. And since it's plus 59, we would obviously subtract. The second value to move would be our 8. And the way we move that, because it's 8 times x, is by dividing. So again, the only difference between these questions and the ones that you saw before are that they're flipped around. So the values with a now are not 9, it's over here, so 13 and negative 5. Just don't forget you have to put a negative on that 5. The first value to move should be the weakest, which is subtraction. Since that is minus 5, I want to add to get rid of it. The second value to move should be 13. And here's where everything comes together. This is a divided by 13, and so I need to use the opposite of division, which is multiplication, to move that number. The values within are 5 and 11. The value that should be moved first is the 11 because that's the weaker of the two. Again, that's plus 11, so we need to subtract. The second value to move should be the 5. This is n divided by 5, so we need to actually multiply to move that 5. So again, you just got to make sure all your 4 decisions are intact. As long as they are, you'll be okay. Here, the values with t are 7 and negative 25. The value that should be moved first is the negative 25. The value that, in order to move it, it's minus 25, so we want to add. The value that should be moved second is the 7. That's 7 times t, so we need to divide to get rid of that. So again, the main part of this is just making sure you work on your decisions. Now we get to the solving part, which means that we just need to make sure we are careful. As you can see, my computer's about to die, so give me just 1 second to plug this thing in. Alright, so the values with g are 8 and negative 48. I hope you can see that. Oops. The first value that should be moved is the addition subtraction, which is your negative 48. The second value that should be moved is your 8. And so let's execute this plan. G is over here. I want to move this 48. It's minus 48, so I want to put plus 48 and plus 48. 32 and 48 make 80, I believe. And again, the key thing over here is that these 48s go away, leaving me that whole term, which is 8g. Because remember, we have not touched the 8 yet. Now we're going to move the 8 because it's 8 times g, and we're going to do that by dividing by 8 on both sides here. 80 divided by 8 is 10, and then that leaves just g on this side here, and that would be all you need to do. Here, the values with r are 5 and 12. The weaker of the two, of course, is 12, so that should go first. The 5 should go second. Again, it's very repetitive. You just got to make sure you practice it enough to get used to it. If I'm going to execute moving this 12, it's going to be by subtracting 12 because it says plus, and I need to use the opposite. 25 minus 12 is 13. Again, that goes away, and I'm left with r over 5. So remember, you can either hit this button here and do r over 5 that way, or you could use a slash. Whatever it is, we now need to get rid of this 5. That's r divided by 5, so I have to multiply by 5. Remember, the way we show that is by putting it in parentheses. 13 times 5 is 65. 5's go away, leaving me with just r, and there we go. The values with a, again, it's just moving all over the place. So a here is with 3 and 40. The first value that should be moved is the weaker of the two, which is the 40. And the second value that should be moved is the 3. This 40 has to go, and so therefore we will subtract 40, because remember that's plus, so we have to do minus 40 on both sides. That goes away, leaving me with 3a. 85 minus 40, I believe, is 45. Yes, it is. And now we need to move this 3. This is 3 times a, which means the way I get rid of this 3 in the next box is by dividing by 3 and dividing by 3. That leaves me with a over here, and 45 divided by 3 is 15. I've done a lot of numbers like that before. The values with c are 4 and 23. Again, that's the key thing. As long as you can see what numbers are there, you will get better. Everything just kind of takes time to get used to. We need to move the weaker of the two, which is a 23, and then the 4 would go after that. I don't know why I just clicked out of there. So when we go to execute this plan, to move this 23, which is plus 23, we want to do minus 23, minus 23. Again, C over 4 is left, so I'm going to do C slash 4. 39 minus 23 is, I believe, 13. I now want to move this 4. This is C divided by 4, so I need to multiply by 4 on both sides. The 4's go away, leaving me with just C. That's 1252, I believe. I don't know. Oh, I put a parentheses. I hope that's the only reason why I missed it. That's not the only reason why I missed it. Let's see. 4 and 23, 23 to 4. Minus 23 minus 23 is 13. I gotta do this now, otherwise I'm gonna miss it in front of everybody. This is scary. 39 minus 23 equals 16. And then 16 times 4 would be 84. No, I don't know. Times 4, 54, 64. Whew, saved myself. It's okay to mess up though. It does make you stronger. The values with t are 11 and negative 9. Again, make sure you put that negative with it. The weaker of the two is the negative 9. The value that's strongest is the divided by 11. So when we go to execute this, the way I get rid of this negative 9 is with plus 9 here and plus 9 there. When I do that, I now have to bring down t over 11, and then 5 and 9 make 14. If I want to get rid of this 11, the way I do it, t divided by 11, I'd have to multiply. Remember, the way we show that is with parentheses. T comes down, 14 times 11. The trick for multiplying a double-digit number by 11 is that you take the number and write it, and then in between you put the sum. 1 plus 4 is 5. So because 1 and 4 make 5, I'm multiplying by 11. It should be 154. But again, that just takes practice. Values with v are 8 and negative 54. The value that should be moved first is the weaker, so negative 54, and then 8 should go after that. Again, we're not even paying attention to the 66 yet. I want to move this negative 54, and the way I do that is by adding 54 to both sides. This goes away. Remember that 8v comes down. 66 and 54, I believe, is 120. Now how do I get rid of this 8? If it's 8 times v, I must divide by 8 and divide by 8. Those two things go away, leaving me with just v. 8 goes into 12 one time with 5 left over, no 4 left over, so it'll be 15 there. Here, the values with t are 9 and negative 10. The value that should be moved first is this one, negative 10. The value that should be next is the 9. Again, executing this plan, to move this negative 10, I must use a positive or plus 10 to both sides. 13 plus 10 makes 23. The 10s go away. I'm left with 10 over 9, and I move to the next box. If I want to move this 9 as t divided by 9, I must multiply. So remember, we show that using parentheses. 23 times 9, that'll be 27. Carry the 2, 18, 207. I still got it. The values with d are 6 and 28. The value that should be moved first is the weaker of the two, which is 28. The value that should be moved second is the one that's right next to it, which is the 6. If I want to move this 28, I must move it with its opposite, which is minus 28. 46 minus 28, I believe, is 18. Those two things go away. This whole term must come down, which is 6d. I then have to get rid of this 6, and the way I get rid of 6 times d is by dividing by 6 here and dividing by 6 here. 18 divided by 6 is 3. The 6's go away. That is what's left over. That should be the right answer. The value with j, all these are easy. I'll take these. The values with j is 95. The way I move this 95, because it's plus, is by subtracting 95 here, subtracting 95 here. 168 minus 95, I believe, is 73. I don't know. We'll see. Tab doesn't always work, I guess. The value with P is negative 70. Don't forget, you must put that negative on it. The way I move a negative 70 is by adding 70 to both sides. That goes away, leaving just P. 21 and 70 make, I believe, 91. And there we go. The value with V here is 24. If I want to move this 24, it is being multiplied, so I must divide 24 on both sides. Let's see if I can guess this. 10 would put me at 240. The number that ends in 6 is 4, so 14 maybe? And that would go away, leaving me with just V. Here, the value with D is 21. If I want to move this 21, because it's divided by 21, I must multiply. 21's go away, leaving just D, and 21 times 7, I believe, is 147. The questions you just saw are all the questions that are going to be on your test. Just make sure you're ready to do it, and make sure you're ready to perform. The key thing to remember, again, is that you have 3 times to take this test, but don't waste them if you're lost. If you don't know what's going on, email me before you take it the 3rd time, especially because once you've taken it the 3rd time, that score is locked. But every time you retake it, I do take the higher of the scores. Again, if there's issues that you're having, let me know. I'm always here to help you. Talk to you later.